We have architect, which typically is a Fable agent. We have implementer, which is Opus agent. And to be honest, here you can use Codex agent or Opus. I'm using Opus just to burn through my subscription, because otherwise it will stay unused. Today we are going to establish our software development department, hire our software lead, director, if we can call it, and then hire 7 more software developers or agents, write some job descriptions, set expectations for them in terms of skills, and also set some business procedures or software development procedures, aka loops, to start our development process. This video should be short. I will quickly recap what we did in the last one. So we started with fresh installation of Windows. We installed our Cloud Code Telegram bridge. We set our Cloud Code. We installed our WSL environment or Ubuntu distribution in Windows. And now we are going to quickly look through our repo. At the moment, it is quite empty, so there is no coding. There is just the Cloud directory, which is the focus of this video, where we will talk about our creation of software factory or software department that we are hiring as entrepreneurs in this case. So what I'm going to do is, rather than looking through each one of those separately, you can check those through the repo. It is public. I can show you essentially the AI generated images explaining what is behind really. So we have the standard directory structure with agents.md, where every agent will read to. Cloud.md refers to agents.md. That's nothing new. Review.md is used by reviewing agents. Then we have classification of agents, skills, rules, and a few hooks. And then I have a separate repo where I brainstorm the documentation, the architecture, which at some point I may or may not share public, or I can create a subset and or move most of it here. But let's progress with this repo, and then I will put most of the documentation in the main. So we have the lead, which is a Fable agent, and as of today, we have Fable 5.0. But pretty soon, I think it's imminent, we'll have Fable 5.1, for which I'm quite excited. We have Codex running on GPT-So 5.6, and maybe soon we'll see a new model. And then we have 7 different agents. We have Code Explorer, which typically is an Opus agent. We have Architect, which typically is a Fable agent. We have implementer, which is Opus agent. And to be honest, here you can use Codex agent or Opus. I'm using Opus just to burn through my subscription, because otherwise it will stay unused. We have reviewer, which is Fable agent. We have verifier, which doesn't necessarily run all the time. It looks for certain criteria for exception. We have security reviewer, and that's typically specialized one when there are some security things that are being like authorizations, security keys, and etc. And we have browser QA. At the moment, that is using the standard Cloud Code MCP and extension to Chrome. There are other options which are more efficient, but I'm trying to keep it simple at this stage. How the hiring really works. So we have each agent with name, description, kind of tools that they are allowed and skills that they can use, and what their loop or procedure, kind of job description and output and limits they are supposed to do. Each one of them has that. This is the main image that I wanted to speak to you. So the standard loop is we have investigation by Explorer agent. We have planning by essentially the architect or the lead. Then we have the review of the plan, usually by the codex agent, in this case 5.6. So, as I said, we have a review of the human in the loop. In this case, it will be myself. And then we will have implementer with Opus agent, reviewer with codex, and then folding, which is the lead, the Fabo agent. And then back here, in case we have something to test, especially in a browser, we'll have browser QA when there is something specific, when acceptance criteria are not met. And again, we will fine tune probably these. Some of these may be a bit of an overkill, we'll see. Browser QA is definitely not. But the verifier and security verifier is something that I'm incorporating in this project, and we may fine tune. The rest of the loop, it is quite good, and I've used it in a previous project and worked really well. When it comes to how we are controlling and how we are setting our structure and expected quality of that team. So we are setting rules, and I'm not going to get into too much detail, but one of the main ones is reuse before create. So that's just a standard software practice. We have a lot of trying to put common vocabulary. We have skills, the planning, the code review, the anti-slope. Make sure we have checks before something goes public, diagnosing before fixing, and then self-curate. This is something that is inspired by Hermes agent. There is a sub-agent that goes through the history and looks at what needs to be captured in terms of learnings and writes that in a journal. I'll speak a bit more on the next slide. We have reviews. Here we have P1, P2, and P3, what they are and what are the verdicts, and then gates. Every agent works in its own work tree. There can be multiple agents working in parallel, especially in the beginning. And then last is the hooks. They are lightly used here. Mostly the pre-push, the git commit, making sure nothing is pushed except main. Then we have post-turn journal. This is essentially putting all the messages in a single JSON file, just for some memory, long-term memory. And we have the run curate that I spoke about with the self-curate skill that tries to capture the learnings and potentially any skills that may need fine-tuning as well as agents. There will be certain stages where I will check this journal and use another agent, most likely, to check what we should fine-tune. And once we start coding, we'll be able to fine-tune some of those depending on the outcomes that we see. And as new models are being released, these files are likely going to need some additional maintenance, as these new models will have different quirks. Okay, I think that's for now. In the next video, we are going to start mocking up our front-end design, and the things will get a lot more interesting.